everybody again. This is Dak and Dozer from the Order. We'd like to bring you episode number 2 for Red Weapon Theory. This episode is going to be about defensive options you can use to add into your repertoire as a red user. A lot of these moves are things that I've used frequently in the past, and most of them I actually rely on pretty heavily. And so we're going to share that with you today to help you become more of a flexible and versatile fighter. So today we're going to talk, like I said, with defense. I wanted to start off by just saying with the Pommel Defense is what I use quite frequently. But before we go into the Pommel Defense, I want to show what you typically can see when you're talking. We're red versus red, okay? And I do a shot on Dozer here. You might see this sometimes, an optional defense. Can you see this? I'm not going to say anything about this, but I am going to say that when you do this, you can be in a position where you're locked up. You can be in a position where I'm able to grab and he's locked up. Dozer, you got any position where you can do anything? I don't know. We're going to give you today a different option to that defense. And even though there's a lot of, in traditional sword fare, there is a lot of blocking, which is done with the blade, but in the world we live in, with dagger here in Belgarth, the blades are a little faster. So we've kind of taken this one and used it for quite a bit. So the Pommel Defense, okay? Now, looking at Dozer, go ahead and put a good Pommel Defense up. If you look at him, turn towards the camera real quick. He's got a very linear form. If I'm versing him, he doesn't leave a lot of room for me to chicken wing him. He doesn't leave a lot of room for that, okay? His hands are close, what we call the butterflying. If your arms are out, I have you. Checkmate. If you're a one-handed red user, you're my bitch. With the pommel, I should say pommel, the handle striking, if you can do the handle striking at this angle, now with a lot of different ways you can block, you're blocking with the handle, okay? What this does is it creates a good fulcrum in his favor to be able to strike me faster than I can retort. If you do the old way, if you do it an old block, I can possibly swing. May or may not be able to, depending on the red fighter. This ensures a better leverage result. So if you can also block this handle. You can use the handle to block on every different angle and what they call the quadrants. I'm sorry, the quadrants. If you use the quadrant, you can block it every different quadrant to protect your body. Again, this episode being about defensive is about protecting you and just bare minimum defense, okay? If you start from that and create a foundation, you can work your way up. The last thing, I know a lot of you guys are worrying about, how about stabs? What do you do about stabs? Imagine if a situation where Dozer is defending and I am going to stab him, he is now blocking down, using his pommel, okay? I want to touch base on this one a little bit. When you use your handle to block down, there's a lot of different ways to block. You come at me. If I choose to block it to the side, I could be endangering my ally over here or over here. If I block it up, I could get it in the face or the neck, okay? If you block it down, using the basic defensive theory, you're putting the weapon towards the ground, you're grounding it, and it could go through your legs. If it hits you in the nuts, you're not blocking it fast enough, and you're dead anyways. But you're getting the weapon out of the way. It's very basic. I recommend a lot of newer red users always block down. Just get it out of the way, get the threat out of the way. You see a lot of green guys going like that. If you block it down, you have some options from here. You can choose to step on it, you can choose to grab it, you can choose to just walk up it and attack like what Dozer just did right there. But generally, I've found that a good way to control it is, when in doubt, you can block down. You usually have a good advantage if you do that. Push the weapon down, you neutralize it, you get it out of the way, and then you can talk about offense, which we'll cover in future episodes. So you have these quadrants where you're pommel blocking, and every one of these blocks, Dozer is able to get a fulcrum on me and strike me. So again, just want to summarize it. He's able to push down, neutralize the blade on a stab. He's able to keep his elbows in to protect against butterfly shots. He's able to block all quadrants with the handle of his weapon. And we'll show at the end of this video in a real life fast speed motion how effectively, how quickly, because he has the defense in the center of his body, he's able to react against strikes. So we'll take that idea and we'll put it into a sword and board defensive scenario. And I know a lot of the red users love this because sword and borders typically have a disadvantage against sword and borders. You can use this strategy. Now Dozer will be aggressing me on this one. You can use this strategy to block blues. It's the same thing. This is your defensive shield. You can use this. Even though it's hard because they're blue users, you can still use it entirely. But we're going to talk about some other defensive strategies you can do to build up against a sword and border. One of the things besides that is you want to build up some intimidation. To build up intimidation, there's a lot of things you can do. The first one I want to talk about is kicking. Now, kicking's a big part of a red user's arsenal. If you haven't already tried to doing it, you can do it. I recommend you practice it some more. But what I do with kicking is just because you can kick a shield, you can push him away. Again, starts to get offensive, but the point of kicking, what I like to do, is to create distance. So you're going to come at me, and I'm going to be able to kick him away, keep that distance, because I have the advantage on you. To keep that distance, the kicking comes in. Now, with every strike in the game, you can use a fake with that strike. You can fake kick. So if I'm striking, I can strike, I can do a fake kick, and I can strike again. Now you might think to yourself, fake kicking, why is that going to do anything? To a shieldman, I recommend you just try it. A shieldman, they don't like to get kicked. If they flinch and you fake, the time that it takes to fake kick and plant that foot, you're already in motion. If you do a kick, it takes a little bit more time. What was that?
They're going to have to brace for the impact. There's no guy who's going to take a kick and not brace for it. So when they brace, you'll be able to strike.
They have to brace every time you even supposedly kick. So fake kicks are good. Even though it looks weird, we're going to show this at the end of the video as well to show some fluid motions examples on how to do fake kicking and kicking. I'm not going to go into the offensive kicking details, kicking, moving the shield to the side. That's more of an offensive. I'm talking about kicking as a defensive situation, to push the enemy away, to keep him intimidated, and to block that weapon. Now, tying those two things together, I put them in that order because what Dozer's going to do is he's going to strike over here, and you can't just do one or the other. If you're going to do them both. So if you block and kick at the same time, now you're in a position where you can strike. The hard part about red using, and this is something that took me a long time to do, go ahead, come at me again, is a lot of times you'll kick, oh no, I'm dead, and you're not thinking about the other part of the situation. You need to put both tactics together and be able to use them in tandem. So you block, strike, and if it comes through, you've already carried your momentum, you lose nothing, and he's intimidated to all hell. Because I just kicked and blocked his shot, he's got one on the shield. So that's all we wanted to talk about today with the defensive strategies. Really quick, just remembering the blocking with the handle. I recommend you try it. I hope this adds and helps you guys. Kicking takes a lot of time and practice, but I mainly use it as a defensive against sword and borders. And thank you guys for watching. Enjoy some of the appendix videos.